we have a very special guest today. Will you please introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Andrew Rubin. I'm a debut author, and I'm so excited to be talking with you both.
We're really happy to have you here.
I just want to say, I just have to start off like when you first reached out to us, your energy and your words like jumped through the page. I was just like, who is this guy? Like, we need to talk to him. I need to know more. Like, if this is how he writes to us in like a simple go between, like, we need to read his book. Like, we need to see what he's about. Like, I just felt it from I think it was even your subject line. I was like, who is this? I need to talk to him.
I'm so glad you say that. I put way too much time into those cold emails. I think there's like part of me is like the film school background where I'm just going to be persistently asking people. And then you just have to kind of be bold. I mean, you're doing this weird thing where you're just reaching out to random people across the internet and hoping they don't think you're spam. So you might as well go for it. So, yeah.
Well, it works.
It did. Thank you. I know. I was like really excited that you responded since I wanted to be on this podcast. This felt like such of the vibe of my book, and so I was like, I hope you'll read this. So,
Well, I mean, you should teach a sales marketing class because it was like you got to get people in with the hook and like not think that it's spam, and you did it. So,
oh, I appreciate it. I do actually do this program, which is awesome. It's the Veterans Writing Program for the Writers Guild, and like a big portion of that is etiquette, which I hope I did stay within some realm of boundaries, but and also just the self pitch. Like that's actually there's the program is going to be tonight, and it's all about the self pitch, which is just something I'm not good at because it's just this weird out of your comfort zone where you have to talk about yourself, and that's
yeah,
and
like, yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that that's like 90% of the job of an author when you have a book published. I just thought like the whole thing was you get the book's done and it's out there. And then no, now an author has to have a following. And yeah, I'm not going to do the song and dance, but.
It's so interesting that like in so many capacities, we have to be a salesman.
Yes.
Like even with the podcast, right? Like she's better at the social media aspect. Like I like this. I like the reading. Like I'm in this because I want to read. Like I don't want a social media as a verb now. Like I don't want to do these things. I don't want to sell myself. Why do we have to be salesmen? Like get people to know, like, and trust us, right? Like it's how we connect.
Yeah.
Right? We want to be connected and yeah, like you're like, oh, I think these girls are gonna appreciate like my story and what I write about. We're going to connect. This makes sense. Like you're proof, right? You found us. You connected with us. It's like, it works.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's maybe the one good part of the internet that's left because I don't think you can trust anything that's out there knowledge wise, but the idea that you can actually find other people that are into the same things you are, which was maybe the original intention of it. But yeah. And it is such a perverse thing, especially with writers, that the most introverted people on the planet are expected to like put on a performance all the time publicly on social media or like pitching a project, which I don't know how long we've been talking and I haven't even said one thing about even my book, the name of my book. So mission accomplished.
We will highlight your book, trust me.
Yeah.
But Stephanie is pretty introverted as well, like in a lot of scenarios. I mean, obviously, when you become close with someone or you're talking about something you love, people tend to come out of their, habitual shells or whatever. I mean, I know being introverted is more than that. So I'm not minimizing the experience of being an introverted personality type. But you know what? I'm like going all over the place. You have to jump out of your comfort zone to experience new things, right? Like that quote that's like, life begins outside of your comfort zone. Like it may be easier for some people to do some aspects of it, but some of this makes me so uncomfortable. Like I get more nervous than her about certain things. I'm like, for whatever reason, if I think someone's like really intelligent or like, I don't know, I like psych myself out. I go down a rabbit hole. I'm like, I can't talk to them. I don't know what to say. It's not going to be smart enough. It's not going to be good enough. This episode isn't good enough. The editing isn't good enough. Oh my gosh, it needs to be perfect. I need to post at the right time. And she's like, yo, chill out.
And I'm just like, I want to do these author interviews. Like sometimes more than like the actual book chats now, because like I want to hear your story. I want to learn how you got here. I want to know what it's like to be a writer. Um yeah, like how you put your words on a page or in a computer. Like what does your life look like? I'm so fascinated by that. Like these interviews are like I'm just so excited for them. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I haven't read your book yet. Like teach me, show me, like put it out there. Like I want to help, I want to learn, I want to know all the things. So obviously that's like where my energy is in this present moment. Like, but otherwise, if social media is just like, can you post once a day? I'm like,
Well,
no.
first of all, she said she would, and she's not. So, but like,
The whole posting once a day. By the way, I was just going to say, you're interested in writers. We don't have any of that perseverating self doubt. That's just not how. And I feel like there's that I have to say is, yeah, for a second I thought you believed me. So, like, no, that's,
Like,
no,
like
no, it's the
really?
opposite. That's the space we live.
yeah.
And that's actually what I had fun segue about the book, about the gods, which is what, anyways, I was like, there we go. I'm going to do the plug now. No, but that's actually what I had most fun doing writing about gods was giving them as much human anxiety as possible, or at
Okay.
least our own conditions. But yeah, sorry, you were saying about interested in the writing process and all that. But
Well, I have no idea. Let's go back to the book.
When you write about something like the gods, if they're gods that people have heard about, did you do a ton of research to make sure you stay true to like the mythology and all the things that exist already? Or did you just kind of creatively do whatever the hell you wanted to do?
both, both. I did tons of research. I'm sure if there's any academic or professor out there of comparative religions or anything, they're probably going to hate the book. Or I just take I take a ton of creative license, but they're all, the gods are real, the mythologies are all real. Enormous amounts of research. I'm doing a bunch right now for the second book. I've got like my current read right in front of me for that. But then it's kind of, that's, I mean, all stories are derivative. Everybody takes license with anything, and I sort of feel like with this mythologies, like that's why they stayed relevant, because they adapted and they were used as moral lessons or for so many purposes. And so that I didn't feel so bound to being like absolutely having this like minute fidelity to the original mythology. Like I had, it was, the fun part was just like throwing them into the modern world and making and seeing all the chaos that ensues. Um, and then of course, like what is the personality of a god? That's kind of tricky. Like they can't, they're all probably narcissists, but you can't make them all narcissists because that's really boring. So
It'd be a very boring story.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I live in Los Angeles, so I'm surrounded by them all the time anyway. So it's probably very easy for me to do that. Um, but it's so like the myths are real. Like the book itself, Hell or High Winter, is based on the Hermes Persephone myth, which I'm sure anyone that loves Percy Jackson will like get all the boxes checked with all the myths they loved. But then mine was sort of catapulting it into the present day, and it's Hermes, the trickster and the messenger god. And what is a god supposed to do that doesn't have purpose anymore? So what is the messenger of the god supposed to do in the age of email? And my answer is just screw around for all eternity, which is just sort of masking his own deep insecurities. And then it's the only thing that grounds him is his love with his sister, because in the original myth, he was sent to rescue her and bring her back from the underworld, which is like a really fun, like, cue any sort of action movie like Taken, and that's the plot.
Yeah.
And then that myth of that relationship that grew out of that sibling bond, so sort of like a trauma sibling bond. And then that's sort of the only thing that ties him to and grounds him in present day until she's kidnapped again. And this time it's not the usual culprits, which the original culprit was Hades, who became her husband. And this time around, it's not going to be so easy because it wasn't him. And then that's cue the giant conspiracy that is behind it.
Okay.
Ooh.
I like it.
So yeah, and all the other religions are out there. So in my world, I had fun thinking that what if worship was a drug and the gods are addicted to it, and it's like market
Ooh.
share. So the religions that have the most worshipers are the ones with the most power. They call the shots. They're dividing the territories. So they're kind of like, you know, to whatever meta. They're the mafias. They're carving up the world. They're the superpowers. It's Russia and the United States and China or whatever. But it's the religions, and so then you have
And that would
the
change.
smaller ones.
That would shift too, right? Like
So yeah,
over time,
exactly.
obviously, like every religion. That's actually really interesting.
So in this version, Hermes is living in a world where, you know, you have the monotheists are one of the dominant powers, and the Hindu religion and the Buddhists are the other ones, and he's trying to just survive without pissing them off too much. And of course, they don't want humans knowing that Hermes is still around because that would be bad for business.
Well, yeah.
And then you have the smaller religions, which of course had been, you know, with conversion and other things, and they have sore spots. So I like to weave in because I love world mythology and I love how they're all connected. And so the idea that you can have a trickster, you know, a trickster god from Greek mythology be friends with the trickster from West African Yoruba mythology.
How did you come up with that idea? Is this a story that's
I
always
was
been?
gonna ask, where did the inspiration come from?
I mean, it was kind of basic. I used to play like a game of Mad Libs with my brother, where way back when, for like story ideas, and this came out when he was like, you know, hey, is there any world myth that has this plot from this movie? And I was like, oh, Hermes and Persephone. And then I was like, oh, Hermes and Persephone. And then 10, almost 15 years later, now the book is out. So it didn't take me that long to write. God help me if it would have. It took me a couple years, and then it was imposter syndrome. Speaking of imposter syndrome, and it was on a shelf for a while. I had given it to someone to read, and I got some brutal feedback. An early draft.
Really?
It wasn't his genre. That was my mistake. Other mutual friends were like, "Why did you do that? You knew that's not his type of book." So then it was on a shelf. And then I took it off, and I spent like 2 years almost rewriting it, just as a different writer, as having evolved in my own ability. So from my early 20s to my early 30s. So
You still have the original version, right?
yeah.
Is it
Never
that
to see the light of day. Huh?
did it change that much?
No, actually, no, it didn't. I think I just got more confident in the voice,
Mm-hmm.
in my own voice, in my own writing, and the skills. You know, you spend every day writing and doing different other projects, and then coming back to it, and so it just, yeah, the plot remained even through the editorial process with the editor, who was awesome. I worked with his name is Guy. That was so much fun. Yeah, the plot didn't change from the beginning to the end. It's still the same story. We just sort of dug deeper into certain characters and exploring certain motivations and the points of view of the characters in the chapters. And it was just all really fascinating. And that sort of minutia of working with someone who's so intimately tied to story and prose, because it was my first book.
Yeah.
So that was really, really cool. I think coming from my background is in screenwriting.
I was going to ask you about that. I heard you say that
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah, I
And
knew you
I
were gonna light up from that, Katie.
I know. We'll talk about that later.
And I think the superpower of a screenwriter, because I've done working on features a lot, is you know how to plot. You have to be good at plotting.
Mhm.
So you have to really know structure inside and out. So.
Well,
And
it's interesting that you thought the editing process was enjoyable and fun, because I feel like some of the authors we've talked about have said that can be like a little stressful, like pressure, like you have to have it, it seems in at least some people's experience is like, or maybe that's more like the publishing company and I'm sounding like an idiot, but like just having people influence your work in a way that you don't really want it to be. It seemed like, right? Haven't people a couple people said that?
I think when they're like the indie authors, right? And like actually finding the right resources or who's getting involved or changing, like, because they don't want to change their story to appeal to an editor or a publisher. Like it's their story, it's their baby. So they want to keep the essence. And I think that's always like what I hear that, like,
Hesitancy, like, they're hesitant about it, and it's yeah, so it's just interesting to hear you be, like, like, it was such a positive, like, cool experience for you.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've heard people not enjoy working with editors. I'm very lucky I had such a great experience, and Guy is like hilarious, and it was so much fun to get on calls and talk through the story with him. I also think maybe I've spent so many years being traumatized with script notes. So in the world of screenplays, which the writer has really no, they just don't have the level of control over the work as you do in prose. Um, I mean, I also think it's just the approach too. I mean, if you, and this is not discounting anybody else's experience if they had a bad experience. There's tons of ways that it could have been gone wrong for them. But like you would just hope that the people giving you the notes have their best interests of the story at heart.
Mhm.
And so, and maybe what they're saying isn't you don't like the note, but there's a note under the note, and like if you just kind of figure out what it is that they're saying, and then that kind of opens up. You know, they might just say like, "Oh yeah, that character is really unlikable, and I just, you know, they're just not doing anything for me." This is being very generic, but then maybe the note really is that character hasn't had any agency in the story, and like, what if I actually give her something to do that changes the dynamic of her
Right, like, share
in the story? Yeah. So like if you just think like everybody's coming at it like trying to tell a good story and make a good product, and you know, the nice thing about books is the notes from the editorial process, as Guy told me, was like, oh no, we have a goal. We want to put a book out into the world. We're not just doing this to go in circles endlessly. Yeah, exactly. Like this is not just like a fun exercise that you're going to do for the next 10 years with no end result.
there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Not the case for screenwriting at all.
Well, that's what so I've, like that just made me think about just one off on that, so I never thought about the screenwriter and, like, the actor has, like, a lot of license with where the story goes, and the director has a lot of license where, like, just the written word takes it. Like, if I were to read a script and Steph were to read the same script, we would both deliver that completely differently. How does that feel as, like, an author, or a screenwriter when it doesn't go the way that you intended it to?
It's oh yeah. Full
Totally, this is
disclosure.
totally on the side. I'm like, never thought of that before.
No, I mean, full disclosure is you're basically I could walk into about a dozen coffee shops from my apartment right now, and there's probably writers having that discussion. It's like you put a couple screenwriters together, it's group therapy. Literally just had the conversation with
Like,
some friends this
no,
morning about that.
what's
Yeah.
the thing?
Yeah, the you know, you have to have yes, sometimes it's brutal and it hurts. And there's like you have so little control. There's so many people that come into the process and everybody gets a say, and you have to like get people on board. It has to be the boulder rolling down the hill, and to attach and to get the next attachment and the next, like everyone wants to come back to the script and make it their own. And so
Yeah.
you have to like a massive part of the job is just like how do you hold on to the original idea and keeping it as good as you possibly can while servicing all the different people's objectives for the script. And it's not necessarily sometimes storytelling. Like a producer would come and say like the budget is $20 million on this and it needs to be $10 million. I've had
Right.
that where it's like, okay, we need to either cut half the locations or you need to find another way to tell the story, and you're like, oh god.
Right. So hard.
Yeah, and then an actor might come on and be like, I want, you know, way more, like this character isn't doing enough for me to be invested, and I have all these notes. Or I've done some of my favorite things, and I work with a lot of actors as well, and my work outside of writing, that the lines don't matter as long as the performance feels real. And if it's just, I mean, Yeah, some things are very specific, and the writer would be there like, no, you say it exactly the way it is, and you
No,
do
there's a
whatever you need to
reason
do to
for
get
this.
there.
It needs
Yeah,
to happen.
like
Yeah.
if you don't say, and this is so many of the things when a screenwriter gets a note and they're like, oh yeah, can't you just take that? I don't like that scene. It just bugs me for some reason. And I'm like, if you take that out, that's a domino that connects to 16 other things that are coming. So,
So no, shut
so
up
no.
and
Yeah.
Harry Potter, actually, because I keep thinking about things. Sorry, that's so random, but like, if I didn't read the books first, I often think that there's so many things about the movies that don't make sense. You took out critical pieces, even though the movies are so long. I love it all. I'm a huge fan. Love it all. But like, there's certain things that only I maybe I'm wrong, but to me they only make sense because I read the books first. So I could mentally insert them into the movies for them to make sense. You don't realize, like, even just the littlest thing, one line.
so is it more enjoyable to write a book versus, ooh, I don't know if you could want to talk about this, but like, because you get so much more control over the whole experience of from the reader. Like, I'm going to know exactly when I read your book what you wanted me to experience.
Yes. Yes. First of all, preaching to the choir about Harry Potter. So many people will hear my like when they tell me, "Oh yeah, I know Harry Potter. I watched the movies." I'm like, "No, you didn't. You don't know anything about
You
it."
don't know it then.
Yeah, it's a whole different process. I mean, the best screenplays are personal. All the best stories are personal. But like, if you're reading the book, like I mean, it was so terrifying to start writing a book versus a screenplay because it's all you and you can go anywhere and you have to fill in all that white space that a screenplay has. But then that's what's so amazing, like if you can get into that rhythm. And then I really fell in love with that. Like just to take the example of the book, because I can speak about the book that I wrote. Like being able to explore side characters and the storylines and the internal dialogue that these characters have. Like in the book, Hades and Persephone's relationship, like in a script, you would just be kind of like brushing through that. It would just be like a quick little scene. Yeah, I mean, a script, you can't really get into the internal, like you show through action and dialogue, but you don't write on a script like what the thought process is or an internal monologue. It's only what the camera can see. And so in the book itself, writing a book, you are the camera. You are hopefully projecting everything that the reader then needs to then be in those moments and understand what the characters, and you get to be inside the character's head, which is just so much different. I mean, when you're writing a script, sure, like you should have like a very clear understanding of the backstory of those motivations, writing out pages and pages and pages, hopefully, of just for your own exercise, if that's your process, of like who these people are and how they got to where they got in the story. And in the book, you can like bring that into the story, which is great. What I was saying before, like part of one of the things that was so much fun, not just kind of talking about like being able to actually write in the sort of have a voice also as an author. That's something different. Like in a prose, it's kind of it's a hat trick if you can kind of make a voice in a script. Not many people read scripts, so I sort of feel like I'm maybe talking about things that are abstract for people. But in a book,
me. I'm like, this interview is now for me and my pleasure, everyone.
I mean, certain scripts, certain like Tarantino, like, oh my God, you pick up a script and if his name's not on it and you start reading it, like, oh, this is a Tarantino script, and it's like blocks of text. But then most of the time, yeah, it's very sparse. And then in a book, you can actually have like a sense of humor, and that's kind of what I tried to bring into the book. It was just my own sort of sensibility. Like I really love the irreverence of the gods, and sort of to me, I wrote this. I started on this book well before Deadpool, but to me, like in my head now, like I'm like Hermes is Deadpool kind of in a way.
God,
There
really?
is like a sense of constant self-awareness and breaking the rules and a little bit of breaking the fourth wall. But that's kind of the tonality, and
Breaking the fourth wall in a book?
sometimes a little bit, yeah. Like I try
I
to
don't know
sprinkle
what that
in.
means.
Like just a hyper self-awareness of what. Oh,
Is
breaking
that a
the fourth.
movie thing or am I dumb?
No.
Oh,
no,
breaking the fourth wall. Oh, I thought
you're not
like
dumb. Oh my God.
No.
Oh no, I've never heard that before, so I don't know, and I don't know what that means.
So, like, if I
Oh.
say I'm like an actor on stage, right? And I'm in the middle of a performance and then I talk to the audience or The Office. Like, you know
Okay,
how The
okay.
Office talks to the camera kind of?
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
it's
best
like
way to
Or
kind of just
makes awkward eye contact to acknowledge. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
it's
That
like
right?
when Krasinski was it is that Krasinski? Yeah,
Yeah.
like when he would turn and like wink at the camera, like he was in on the joke with the audience. Like, oh, like this guy is ridiculous. And like
And that's called breaking the fourth wall.
yeah,
Okay.
cuz if you think about it like a stage, it's you're in the
there's
audience and
three.
you're staring. Yeah, and then it's the three dimensions beyond where the actors inhabit, and if they turn to you and acknowledge the audience's existence, that's breaking the fourth wall.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you for the explanation.
Yeah. Do you still act, Katie? Is that something you still
Uh,
do?
no.
Will you give
I
her a job?
Oh
Because
my
she'd love
God.
to.
Well, here, I'm gonna be a stereotypical hey, as a matter of fact, if you have anything coming up, I really would love to audition. No, I did theater from, like, age 7 through college, and then, I went to Lee Strasberg in Union Square for a little bit in
Amazing.
Manhattan, and then I kinda quit a little bit on myself because it's very hard to do, and I had to work, and I didn't have money, and a lot of my friends who I loved were very rich, and their parents could afford to pay for their condos and their apartments, and they could go audition, and I was, like, working in a bar, and I'm like, "I can't even afford to live here. How am I supposed to even audition even if I get into a play? I can't do it because I have to work." So I definitely gave up. I probably could have figured it out. So I'm hoping one day, like, maybe I'll be the old lady in the story.
Never say never, right? That's the
No,
no, but I mean, I do not envy actors. It's that is so hard. I mean, writing is brutal, and the rejection, the constant rejection. But like, at least you can just reinvent yourself the next time you pick up a pencil, and it's not you can detach yourself from the work itself. I mean, no, you never really can because it always feels personal, but you're not being critiqued on such a very real
consistent
way.
level. Like, you
Yeah.
either get really lucky or you are rejected thousands and thousands of times. Like, so whatever. When my kids are older, I may have a different answer to that question. I don't know. But it's definitely a passion for me. And this is one thing about, like, it's all connected. It's all storytelling. It's all
Of course.
storytelling. Reading, theater, movies. It's just the human condition and feeling something and making other people feel something. It's cool. I mean, for me, it's what life's all about. I mean, there's really nothing more interesting about life to me than that. I don't know. It's kind of corny, but it's true.
I don't think so. It's the oldest art form we've got. So, I mean, yeah, that my love of stories came from always just I was always just disappearing into a book or a movie, and my dad and I would watch movies constantly together, and it was my escape for many things. And yeah, I don't. I mean, it was. There's something so cathartic about it, and it's interesting though. On the other side, when you tell the stories, it was a big thing for me to get over the idea that I would then have to like bring those stories to other people, because I wanted to do it professionally, and there's this block that I had to get over. It always felt like if I was sharing my story, like something I've written in creative writing, and doing the whole pitching thing, like it felt like like I was maybe like 5 years old with like toys on the floor of the bedroom. And so there was this weird sense of suddenly something that felt so personal and internal, and then bringing it to other people. Like even coming to talk about it with you could make me nervous. Like, oh my God, like there's a lot of pressure involved. Like, okay, can I tell it right? Will I not get into the weeds of the story too much? Um, but yeah, I mean, I think, but then that's all what allows people to connect. Um, I mean, I don't know. I think storytelling is the the most powerful thing we could do. I mean, sure, music and everything like that, but the ability to build empathy and to break down those walls. I mean, nothing can help people understand each other better and faster than being able to just tell them a story and let them understand and feel something. Um, that and that's kind of that's I mean, a lot of like then what I'm doing in my writing too, I realize like I've been much more conscious about the fact that like okay, things that I'm working through are now being worked through in the story itself.
Mm.
Um, and I think I'm much more aware of that also in prose writing than screenplay writing, which again is so much more. You know, there's so many rules and things that you have to do, and you involve so many other people. And then when you're just sitting down to write a story, even if it's oddly about gods and things that I never thought I would like use as metaphors for my own life or things that we're all dealing with, like it becomes very internal and very to me connected to my own story or to things that I'm in kind of thinking about and struggling with.
That was one thing I wanted to ask. Stephanie's asked this to quite a few authors. Like, so you're obviously drawing from your own personal experience. You have to. But so you've done the research for your particular like story being that there's gods and mythology involved in religion. So there's some of that. But are you drawing from people in your life? Are you drawing any personal experiences that you've actually had in real life? Or is it all just kind of creative? You're making it.
No, I mean I drew even more so now because I'm almost through the second book writing it, and it's even more so drawing in personal experiences. But yeah, like even in the first book, a lot of times it's not one-to-one people, but I can pull in sort of behaviors and things that I've seen and witnessed into certain characters, which I will not name names. Would not be a good idea. Yeah, so the story of Hermes, and it's funny because I spent so many years writing it, and then I also found so much of it in hindsight looking back and then going through it again in the editorial process, like bringing those things forward and having a very more awareness of it. You know, I was like, I found out in hindsight, I was like, oh, I wrote a story about a god who loses faith in himself and has to actually find faith in himself that doesn't have purpose. What drew me to, Hermes, and this is just around getting to answer to the question about drawing on personal experiences. I mean, I one of the things I loved about Hermes is he's the messenger god. There is an idea of him sort of being the errand boy of that.
Mhm.
I mean, he is
Yeah.
very revered in mythology, but then as I was doing my research too, I sort of found certain items uh, from the poems of the time, and I not to bore anybody with the specific references that like sort of cast him in like a little bit of a like a
Like a
as a
gestury
boy
kind of.
as a boy or just someone that wasn't like like a man child, like not a full adult, like not as respected as the other gods.
Yeah.
And so there's a word for that that's escaping my head right now. And so I kind of like the idea of someone who has been always mistreated and always marginalized as a god. And so he's sort of acting out as a way of coping with that being marginalized. And I think everyone can can empathize with the idea of paying your dues and maybe never getting there and not having respect, and that everyone that surrounds him has this loftier position than him.
I was thinking, Steph, you relate to that Hermes thing right now with what you have going on, like feeling like like you're doing all the things and yet falling short.
What keeps coming back to me, right, is there's always been this thing that stuck with me for the past couple of years is this interview I saw with Drew Barry. It's not the whole interview, it's social media, right? But so it's like this snippet from Drew Barrymore interview with this other actress, and I don't know her name. And she talks about your inner compass, right? So it's like we I don't actually know if this is relevant, but it's how I'm feeling right now. So it's like if our inner compass is like slightly bent, right? Like what we think is our true north, and we're doing all the things. We're doing the best we can like to achieve this thing, but it's slightly off course. It's never going to be fulfilling, right? Like you're stuck because it's not your actual course. So it doesn't matter how hard you try, how much love and effort and energy you put into it, like it's ironically a gift that if you can recognize it to like reset and then try to like straighten that needle and go true north and like, oh, okay, no, this is the direction I'm supposed to be going. Let me put all that same love, effort, and energy into that. then it's easier. Then it's clear. Like literally like the mist and fog raise and it's like, "Oh, okay, this is why." Like thank you for that discomfort and whatever those negative feelings were that like sort of snapped me back to like, "Oh, no, 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 no. This is the direction. Okay, cool. All right, I'm on the right direction. Let's do this."
So I don't know if that's what happens
Yeah.
to Hermes, but what she's
That's
going through.
not it.
But it reminded me
No,
that
but
you said that. Like it reminded me of that feeling that she kind of just expressed recently. So
yeah, to click back into it, I resonate so much with that, and it's exactly kind of the feeling that I was going for in Hermes. Or I sort of wrote it and then realized this stuff was underneath it, and it's this idea that he's just sort of living under the shadow of the disrespect and the sense of like he was due something that he never got. And I mean, there's a little bit of an entitlement there. And it kind of is this cosmic reset when his sister is kidnapped and him realizing that that's the most important relationship in his life. And he had this terrible resentment in modern day that I was exploring where it's no one worships me anymore. And he based, and in my version of Hermes, like they're the gods, they base all their self-worth on worship and adoration, which to me is very much kind of like what we're all feeling right now. Like we're chasing followers, we're all trying to get out there in the world, like we feel like we don't matter unless people are paying attention to us. And that sort of is the MO, the basis of the gods. And when they don't have it, it's just they're high and dry, they're addicts without a supply. And their entire self-worth is attached to that relationship, which is inherently toxic unless it's a give and take, or an unhealthy. And so that to me was this interesting thing when Hermes sort of was like, okay, it's really just about one thing. I care about my sister and I love her and I want to get her and bring her back. And then that's his purpose, but then also realizing like, okay, the only belief that really matters is the belief in myself. And that is actually something that I struggle with. It's why my book sat on the shelf for so many years. This idea, like, who am I to write a novel? And so then coming back to the book with that sort of perspective of like, okay, I deserve a seat at the table